Over the past 2 to 3 years, smartphones have functionally become very iterative. Sure, we might have shinier designs, bigger displays, smaller bezels, more camera setups and more storage as standard, but what do we do with our phones now that we didn't do 5 years ago? Hey guys, my name is Ryan Thomas with Failtech, and today I want to go through a few things. With device manufacturers and companies raising the prices of phones, more and more people are taking out 24-month contracts, pushing the upgrade cycle a little bit further than the 12 and 18-month contracts that we were all used to. According to data curated by 9to5Mac, the typical upgrade cycle for an average person has risen to almost 30, if not slightly more than 30 months, which is a lot longer than even a 24-month contract, which is considered to be a fairly long one. And their research and findings found that more people were buying used phones and going for SIM-only contracts, so they didn't have to worry about upgrading the phone, and they would only really change how much data, calls and texts they would get. To investigate the true cause of this, I decided to look into the pricing of the offered flagship smartphones from several different brands over 5 years here in the UK to see just how much the prices had grown overall. As we see from this table, prices have of course risen, but even after accounting for a just over 12% inflation rate, that still gives us price hikes across the board, and surprisingly enough, it's Apple with its biggest increase from the 5S to the XS Max. I didn't expect any kind of leap like this from any company or even Apple, but we saw an over 100% increase in price. With that in mind, added to the fact that most smartphones from 3 years ago are handily enough for the general public today, means that people aren't just trying to save money, but they're caring less and less about the smartphone releases from the latest brands. And why should they? An iPhone 6s, Galaxy S6 or LG G4, realistically they all do the same things as their modern counterparts, and with more options in some cases, and built to a standard that should, if looked after well, hold up in even early 2019. It's all well and good us smartphone connoisseurs talking about higher specs and better internals and liquid cooling and all that stuff, but most people don't care about that. They see a slab of metal and glass in this case, and they want to see some kind of actual change instead of just an iteration. In the past, I've talked much in depth about how buying a used flagship is often more beneficial than buying a new low-end phone, and when you consider that to most people an S8 is just a cheaper version of the S9 that looks almost identical, what are they going to buy? Exactly. These consumers don't know the big difference in spec or camera performance, they just see the bigger price, and don't even get me started on how similar all of the Sony phones look. If you really want to wow the audience and make people buy brand new high-end flagships, you got to think outside the box. Just look at Huawei and even Xiaomi in terms of their actual design. The Mate 20 Pro has that weird quad triple camera thing on the back. The P20 Pro had another weird design. They have different textures, they have different colours. The whole overall design kind of differed or even combined elements from different phones. Whereas you look at a Samsung and that's been the same for the past 2 years. You look at an iPhone, that's been the same for the past 2 years. There's not a huge change there. And even if you were to make some crazy different phone like the Mi Mix 3, the Oppo Find X or the Vivo Nex S, not everyone's going to buy it because most people these days, they do probably a handful of things on their phone. They take photos, they browse social media, they might call and text here and there, and they'll check emails and the news. That's pretty much it. Phones are technically becoming more iterative, and it's down to the little things that we do on our phone that haven't really changed over the past 5 years that make up this difference, and is the big reason really. It adds up to the big reason why more people aren't buying new smartphones all the time. They just don't need to.